This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News, we'll show you how some comic book nerds geek out at MoorCon.
Some students are passing on energy drinks. Find out what MSUM officials think about the potentially dangerous beverages.
Many students feel homesick, but we'll show you one who is lucky to be thousands of miles away from home.
But first, see how Twitter helped a local high schooler win a hashtag scholarship. Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Tyrell Philly.
And I'm Betsy Hermson.
Most students use Twitter as a source to see what's trending.
But one Moorhead High School senior used Twitter to win herself an MSUM scholarship. Reporter Derek Barkowitz has our story.
For Moorhead High School senior Camilla Erbil, art is a passion. She is excited to attend MSUM and pursue a degree in teaching.
I like the idea of making art as well as teaching it. Into there, it's kind of scaly.
Erbil won the first of 4 $2,500 scholarships offered by MSUM's Twitter campaign. The scholarship application wasn't like an average essay entry, but a 140-character tweet. The entries were judged on how creatively they could express their dragon pride with hashtag #BeADragon. Her tweet stuck out of the Twitter feed, being the only one to include a 3-minute YouTube video.
Ever since I was little, I've always wanted to be a teacher.
The video showed Erbil
I liked science, and so I went to my professor and asked him what types of things I could go into.
interviewing teachers at Moorhead High School and asking the teachers
I became a teacher because I love working with students.
what inspired them to want to become teachers.
I really believe that I was meant to be what I am, and that's a teacher.
I feel like they're very influential in the students' life at MSUM, as well as the high school teachers at Moorhead High.
Get some more crevasses.
Should it get darker there?
No.
Her art teacher, Mr. Dunn, has pushed her in a way she didn't know she could be pushed with art.
She's a talented young lady, but there's a lot more to it.
Dunn says a creative seed is within us all. With Camilla, he can see it's more than that. It's part of who she is. With photographer Samantha Stark, Derek Barkowitz, Campus News.
Camilla plans to teach art when she graduates from MSUM.
Nearly 100,000 Minnesota college students will get more help paying for school this year. Minnesota is splitting the remaining $12 million left in the Minnesota State Grant Fund between qualifying students. Overall, 95,000 students will receive an extra $200 in their grants this year. Commissioner of the Minnesota Office of Higher Education, Larry Pogamiller, says the bonus could be helpful to low and middle income students when it comes time to pay for books and materials. He adds the surplus is thanks to an improving economy and fewer people enrolling in community colleges. Minnesota is currently ranked 5th by the Project for Student Debt when it comes to the amount of debt each student leaves school with. MSUM is attempting to raise the number of students talking about unwanted sexual interaction and aggressive relationships through a campus-wide survey. The MSUM Sexual Violence Prevention Committee is using the information students provide them to understand the situation more and make campus safer. A study by the Association of American Universities reveals nearly a quarter of female college students report unwanted sexual contact.
Rowers Construction plans for a new apartment complex to be built in North Fargo. The building would house mostly college students, but Rowers has changed their plans after residents raised concerns about the increase in population and traffic in the neighborhood. The future site for a new apartment complex rests on 32nd North Avenue and University Drive. Rowers Construction originally planned to build a 400-unit apartment complex for NDSU students. The new plans reflect the community that surrounds it. With hopes of appeasing the homeowners, construction can begin in August.
I think that adding that much would just really be a stress on the neighborhood.
Rowers agreed to adapt the complex to support 350 apartments. They also plan to construct more townhomes instead. The original apartment plan was projected to house up to 800 residents. As drones take off, filmmakers have found new uses for the tiny aircrafts.
One film student at MSUM is taking his projects to new heights. Alyssa Eidsness gives us a bird's eye view.
Many photographers dream about taking a photo from the air.
Nowadays, no one really has these yet. Being one of the first in the area has been pretty cool because people ask, like, how'd you get those shots? And then I'll say, like, hey, I have a drone, and they're like, oh, cool.
Jared Eischen is a film student at MSUM. who has a passion for flying drones. Jared has been filming ever since he can remember.
My mom had a video camera, and I always tried to steal it from her and take my own photos and whatnot. Just like any other kid, I guess, that got into photography. I had a small camera, started shooting just random pictures. I'm more of a video guy, so I do, I bought this mainly for video purposes, but it also shoots really nice photos too.
Well, documentary photography is what he loves to do. Owning a drone has changed his perspective.
Like having this has opened my eyes up to a lot of different shooting capabilities.
Drones are able to go 1,500 feet in the air, but the law requires them to only go 400 feet.
The real problem comes if you're close to airports and you're flying, close to airspaces where other air traffic will be.
Jared says it's brought him many different ways to view film. A drone is not a camera. A drone often uses a GoPro to shoot photos or video from a bird's eye view. Jared's inspiration comes from everyday life and stories that are interesting to him. It may be lights, camera, action for some film students, but for the cinema photographer, it's lights, camera, liftoff. With photographer Maddie Hansen, Alyssa Eidsness, Campus News.
Aishin says he's the only film student at MSUM to own a drone. Area college students had another chance to get tickets for popular country singer Garth Brooks after the tour's ticketing system failed the first time. Within an hour, 2 more shows were added on to the original 2 scheduled performances at the Fargo Dome. The concerts are scheduled May 5th through the 8th. The singer broke his own previous record of more than 70,000 tickets sold for 3 shows in 1998. Brooks is known for adding additional performances to a city based on demand. Brooks told WDAY, "It's up to the people to decide the number of performances in each city. As the Brooks saying goes, as long as you want us to stay, we play."
The University of North Dakota could see a famous musician play at the campus if the music therapy program is kept alive. Ben Folds will perform to raise money for the program's budget, according to a Facebook post by Folds. He says the program is widely regarded as one of the most promising schools of its kind. Supporters of the program are voicing their opposition to the shutting down of the program. UND spokesman Peter Johnson says it would take $7 million to keep the program going. Filled with the sugar and caffeine most college students go for when trying to get the extra boost, energy drinks exploded onto the market just 5 years ago.
Reporter Emma Vottensdahl cracks open what MSUM students think about these sugary energy boosters.
What do most students do when the effects of last night's all-nighter kick in or a mid-afternoon lull hits? Some will tell you they pop the top on their favorite afternoon pick-me-up. Energy drinks.
Stay up at night when trying to do homework and stuff.
They're just sweet and I can't stand the bitterness of coffee.
However, not every student at MSUM feels the same way. Workers at MSUM's Dragon Cafe have started to see a trend.
Sales seem to have been declining over the last year or so compared to 5 years ago when they really blew up and came on the market.
The drop in sales may mean that some students are starting to feel the negative effect of drinking energy drinks, opting more for juice, pop, and coffee.
I think people are being more conscious about what they're putting in their body.
I crash real fast after having it. Heard so many things that they're bad for you, so I kind of try and stay away.
MSUM's dietitian, Janet Brown, states that even when consuming moderate amounts of caffeine, side effects can be a challenge for even a young heart, while high amounts may lead to increased blood pressure, nausea, and even heart palpitations. So the next time you find yourself reaching for a short-term energy boost, nutritionists hope you will think of the long-term effects. With photographer Tyrell Philly, Emma Vottensdahl, Campus News.
While MSUM stores are not getting rid of energy drinks completely, they are starting to scale back, stocking more teas, juices, and health-conscious drinks.
Beer in the classroom? Concordia chemistry students are going to class to get a creative buzz. Students in Dr. Mark Jensen's course pair up with Drecker Brewing Company to develop projects hoping to help the company brew better quality craft beer. Students get real-life experience by helping the small brewery with no lab or expensive equipment. It gives the students an opportunity to interact with the people manufacturing the products they analyze. MSUM takes a stroll back in time as History Day rolls around. Young kids fill the CMU as they share their own piece of history with the public. Reporter Nathan Lavka tells us more about the blast from the past.
It's not any ordinary day in the CMU. As you take a look around, you see kids of all ages with posters, and some are wearing costumes. And they are doing all of this for National History Day. Some of them are going the extra mile.
Batter up, hear that call. The time has come for one and all to play ball.
To teach the public about their topic. We sat with 3 elementary students and talked with them about the Peaches.
Well, they were like the first girls to play baseball, and
on a professional league.
Yeah, and they showed that they can play professional sports too. And
with all the information on the Peaches, they even learned a life lesson in the process.
Don't set your stuff off to the last minute. Like, you have to work if you want to do a performance because like, you don't want to forget your lines.
Yeah.
Many event-goers say it's a fun learning experience. With photographer Eli Plunkett, Nathan Lofka, Campus News.
History Day is sponsored by the Minnesota Historical Society.
Some MSUM students are taking the concept of shooting for the stars to a seminar in Hagen Hall. Astronomy and physics students have been mapping out objects in space and taking pictures of clusters of stars at MSUM's observatory in Glendon. They're plotting out the stars as points on a graph before adding what they call latitude and longitude lines of space to make a map.
So what I'm doing this semester is I'm taking a completely different exoplanet called HAT P54.
The students hope their projects make it to the Student Academic Conference this coming April. MSUM students are working to bring happiness to children battling cancer by bringing Love Your Melon to campus. Students can buy hats that keep their melon warm while providing funds to combat cancer.
Haley Gerlach shows us how students are bringing this chapter of MSUM's Love Your Melon crew to campus.
Oh, that's okay. These students have come together to start a Love Your Melon crew on campus. By selling these products, 50% of net proceeds is donated to charities.
Well, you're at the right place.
For Abby Johnson, it's been an exciting journey bringing this crew to campus.
We started at the same time as probably about 200 other campuses across the country, and then now it's grown to over 700 crews.
This organization is doing more than just selling hats.
Some of the other campus crews asked if crews across the country could send cards to kind of flood their mailboxes to make them feel better. So it'll be $60.
When enough hats are sold, the group gets a certain amount of credits. Once the number is reached, the group can give hospital donations and deliver hats to children with cancer. The goal is to go on what's called a superhero adventure.
We're kind of in the process of trying to find a child in the Fargo-Moorhead area that is battling cancer right now. Love Your Melon provides the funding and the experience to go on a superhero adventure. So you kind of talk to the child and see what his or her interests are.
These students say that not only are these hats for a good cause, but they're also fashionable and will keep your melon warm through these cold winter months.
I guess that's really a part that kind of draws people in, is the fact that they're really cute and you see them all over now.
The group hopes that by reaching out to students on campus about Love Your Melon, it will become more prominent on campus. With photographer Marina Vereskun, Haley Gerlach, Campus News.
The MSUM Love Your Melon crew plans to collaborate with Relay for Life, Concordia's Love Your Melon crew, and Colleges Against Cancer.
North Dakota State University students are trying to make a difference by participating in the Clinton Global Initiative. More than a dozen NDSU students were selected to participate in the program. The initiative was launched in 2007 by former President Bill Clinton and is supposed to get college students to address global issues by using practical and innovative solutions. The program selects 1,000 students to attend the conference each year. MSUM students are getting the chance to take an educational trip to the East African nation of Tanzania. Students can sign up for the May to June trip as an education class, an anthropology class, or both. Anthropology and Earth Science Professor Bruce Roberts and School of Teaching and Learning Professor John Benson will be teaching the classes. During the trip, students will learn about Tanzania's education and medical areas and go on hikes on Mount Kilimanjaro and other national parks.
MSUM is holding its own version of Comic-Con called MoreCon.
Reporter Timur Sati brings us to the event to show us these geeks' glee.
This may look like a vampire, but it's actually Courtney Coulis, who is attending MoreCon for the first time.
I really started
getting into it this year is when I had the most time, but my roommates and my people next to me sophomore year decided to show me a bunch of stuff, and one of them was Helsing Abridged, which is the character I am dressed up as today. It's just took off from there.
MORCON is an event held on campus at MSUM, where people come together to let their freak flag fly. Students participate by selling their work, playing games, or just by showing off their costumes. Artist Alley is where students sell fan art of their favorite characters.
What are you drawing? Looks like a dog.
There was also a gaming cafe for those who love to play board and fantasy games. People of all ages can play and get to know each other. MORCON committee coordinator Samantha Iverson says the purpose is to come closer and share their love for all things Comic-Con.
I know that a lot of times students or other people don't really have places to go where there's other people just like them. So this is what this event's really good for, is bringing people together and having those connections.
MORCON is where people just want to share what they like and a place to develop connections. With photographer Annie Pearson, Taimur Sati, Campus News.
This year's MORCON marks the Anime Club's 5th annual convention.
And now we turn it over to Haley Foster for a look at this week's sports. Haley, looks like some NDSU football players are one step closer to being drafted.
That's right, and they're one step closer to the big time. 10 NDSU football players participated in their annual NFL Pro Day. Many players were key to the Bison football team's success, but there was only one player that many had their eyes on. Reporter Tanner Robinson scouted the talent and brings us a closer look.
Here at Gate City Bank Field in the Fargo Dome, 10 NDSU football prospects were watched by 18 of 32 pro scouts, as well as the media. Offensive tackle Joe Hagg, wide receivers Zach Vra, and punter Ben LeCompte were just a few players on the watch list of these scouts. However, most eyes were centered on quarterback prospect Carson Wentz, whom draft experts think is going to go in the first round. Wentz says that he was happy he and Joe Hagg were able to bring extra attention to the workouts, which provided a greater opportunity for the rest of his teammates.
Everyone else knew about the other guys that were getting their opportunity today, but it was huge for them as well, and I was happy for them.
Wentz impressed the scouts right out of the gates as he threw 43 complete passes in a row during his 65 scripted throws in his workout, including 2 passes for 55 yards. Cleveland Browns assistant coach Pep Hamilton then doused the ball in water to simulate playing in wet conditions, and Wentz says that he was not as prepared for the drill as much as he wanted to be.
First one went right into the ground. I was like, I'll get the next one, and I got a couple more, and after that I thought it went all right, but yeah, it was different.
Bison football head coach Chris Kleiman watched over the 10 seniors for his last time, and when asked about Wentz's performance during the pro day, he says that he did a phenomenal job.
He was ready to perform and play today, and that's the kind of guy he is. He's just so competitive that I knew he'd shine on the big stage today.
Wentz is looking to be only the second FCS quarterback in the last 9 years to be taken in the first round in this year's draft, joining current Baltimore Ravens starter Joe Flacco. He and his other 9 teammates will now wait to see where they will play next season. With photographer Kaylee Omang, Tanner Robinson, Campus News.
You can catch the 2016 NFL Draft on April 28th through April 30th. 2 Augustana University basketball players have been named to the Basketball Times First Team All-American, while Augustana's coach was named Coach of the Year. Daniel Jansen is the first player at Augustana to score 2,000 points. He's also the university's all-time leading scorer with more than 2,200 points. This is his 8th time being named to the All-American team. Casey Schilling is 3rd in rebounds in university history with more than 900. He's the 2nd in university scoring history with 2,017 points. Coach Tom Billiter coached Augustana for 13 seasons. Billiter led Augustana to its first Division II national championship title in the history of the program after beating Lincoln Memorial 90-81. A North Dakota State University runner is celebrating her 5th consecutive Summit League Athlete of the Year award. Erin Teschik has claimed the award every season since 2014 in both cross country and indoor track. She took 4th at the national meet in the 3,000 meter and finished 6th in the mile. Teshik has won 2 straight Indoor Track Athlete of the Year awards. She's the first female in Summit League history to win the indoor award in back-to-back seasons. For the 7th time in school history, the Minnesota Golden Gophers women's hockey team ended its season with a national title. The now back-to-back national champions took this win in style, defeating the undefeated Boston College Eagles 3-1 in Durham, New Hampshire. The Eagles led the nation in scoring with a 5.3 goals per game, but ran into a red-hot goalie. Senior goalie Amanda Laville held the Eagles to just 1 goal late in the game. The Gophers have reached the national title game for 5 straight years, winning 4 of them. Scoring 1,000 points on your high school basketball team usually translates into a productive college career. But reporter Nick Budig tells us how one MSUM student athlete's determination helped him score for the first time before walking across the stage.
MSUM senior point guard Ryan Benoit was a highly recruited point guard by MSUM head basketball coach Chad Waltall, coming out of high school after an incredible career in Baldwin, Wisconsin.
When you're coming in from high school, you're kind of a cocky freshman that's going to expect to score lots of points. And
even after tearing his ACL late in the season during his senior year in high school, Benoit still saw his dreams of playing college ball still in reach. Ryan's hopes of playing college ball started to fade after his freshman year when he tore his ACL for the 2nd time his sophomore year, and again for the final time his junior year.
I almost felt pathetic in a way.
Ryan's positive attitude was put to the test and is still able to find the silver lining.
I kind of tried to use it to the best of my advantage. If I wasn't playing, I was trying to rehab as hard as I could. Also being hurt, I was able to focus on my academics a little more.
In a game against Bemidji State, Ryan was finally able to collect his first career points with a 3-pointer late in the Dragons' win.
The way he stuck to it and handled adversity, I think anybody can learn from.
Senior guard Gijo Sangolo says he has learned more from Ryan's actions than his words.
He just always has had a really positive attitude no matter what his role has been.
Through it all, Ryan says he was able to cherish that first basket even more.
After a couple injuries, just to kind of get one, kind of realize that dream is a pretty good experience.
With photographer Nicole Strobel, Nick Budig, Campus News.
Benoit wrapped up his career with 11 points for the Dragons. He's graduating in May with a degree in biology and pre-med. Wow, 3 ACL tears. I've only had 1. I can't imagine what that must be like.
Wow, that's a lot of determination. Do you think it's too late for me to score my first points, Haley?
Oh no, Tyrell, you've still got it.
Thanks, Haley. Many students take on a lot of challenges to earn their college degree, whether it's student loans or part-time work.
Reporter Haley Warnicki shows us how one MSU Moorhead student from Africa is taking on her own culture to stay in school.
Caddy Suso is a freshman at MSUM, and like most freshmen, it's her first time away from home. Except her home is a 4-day journey away.
But it's a really tiny village.
In her small village in Gambia, she is the first female to graduate high school. Females in Gambia are expected to quit school, have an arranged marriage, and start a family. They are also expected to undergo genital mutilation, a surgery that is outlawed, but is still practiced in secret. But Caddy has a different plan.
As I go to school, I understand more, and I feel that those cultures doesn't make sense. I need to be independent. I have to do things on my own. That's my belief.
The odds are against Caddy. Her parents convinced her uncle to stop paying for her education, so she would have to come home and marry the man they lined up for her. Even though her parents don't agree with Caddy's wishes, Caddy doesn't hold it against them.
I don't blame them. They don't know. They don't realize what they are doing.
But her struggles weighed on her. During a visit with Professor Brian Wizzaden, Caddy broke down and told him that without her uncle's payments, she would have to quit school. That's when Wizzaden decided he had to help. He posted a video as part of a GoFundMe campaign to help keep Caddy in the U.S., saving her from female circumcision and a marriage she doesn't want. The funds would help her finish her degree. He hopes she can go on to become a surgeon and one day return to her village.
It will be a role model for other female Gambians to say, look, you can do this. You can break from the tradition of marrying young and raising families.
I will have to be there with them, feel what they go through, to prove to them that I've gone through this. We all can do this together. Being individual will take a long time, but together we make a difference.
Without the help of the Fargo-Moorhead community that raised $10,000 through the GoFundMe account, Caddy might not have been able to continue her education this year.
I couldn't believe it. They don't know me. I wish I could see all those people who contributed and just tell them thank you, because they don't know what they have saved me through.
Haley Warnicki, Campus News.
Caddy has enough money to finish her freshman year, but not the rest of college. Wizardend hopes Caddy can get a sponsor for the next 3 years. You can donate at gofundme.com/Gambian.
And that's it for this edition of Campus News. Make sure to look us up on YouTube to see this week's broadcast and more.
We leave you with a bird's eye view from Mr. Eichen's drone.
Thanks for joining us and have a great week.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.